This is a Department of Human Services licensed childcare center e-learning. The business of licensed childcare centers in Minnesota. Slide 2, Building a successful childcare business.
Starting a business in Minnesota is not a single decision, but a series of them. Each one an important step on the path to a successful business. Businesses that do not succeed tend to have similar things in common. Being aware of these commonalities and addressing them before you start is important. Businesses started by individuals with a lack of business knowledge and experience, a lack of thorough preparation and/or a lack of capital are unlikely to succeed. The first step is to decide whether you have the right stuff to be a successful entrepreneur. The right skills, the right training, and the necessary commitment. In this video, we are going to share how to prepare to own a childcare business in Minnesota, including setting up your childcare business in order to become licensed, and accessing local and state resources to support your business needs.
Slide 3, Developing a business plan.
Success in business is no accident. A written plan is essential to your success, not just at startup, but also throughout the life of your childcare center. A plan can help you decide whether it is feasible and desirable to take the next steps and invest time and money in a child care center. One of the most important steps in a written plan for your proposed business is the development of meaningful financial projections. No business enterprise should be undertaken without a clear plan of profit potential and an understanding of the enrollment of children in your program needed to achieve this profit. Accounting is the process of collecting, organizing, maintaining, reporting, and interpreting financial data about a business. That financial information is useful both to the business owners and to managers in operating a business in a profitable and efficient way, and to outsiders like investors or creditors who require a picture of the business financial position and performance. For more detailed information, resources, and helpful guides on starting a business in Minnesota, visit both the Department of Employment and Economic Development, DEED, at https://mn.gov/DEED, and First Children's Finance.
Slide 4, Child care industry.
All children and their families should have access to safe, healthy, and quality child care and early education programs. It has been identified that child care is an essential infrastructure to the economic health of communities. Children need services that support their intellectual, emotional, physical, and social development, while family members need safe, affordable, and quality child care that allows them to pursue employment or education. As part of a good business plan, understanding the specific dynamics of the child care and early education industry is crucial. According to the legislative report, Status of Child Care in Minnesota, 2019, there is a critical need for the availability of more child care. The Child Care Licensing Division, Child Care Assistance Program, Child Care Professional Development System, and Parent Aware Quality Rating and Improvement System all support child care and education programs to meet the needs of children and families in Minnesota. In order to provide high-quality child care, license holders will need to recruit and retain high-quality staff. Programs that support the growth and learning opportunities of their staff retain them and build a reputation within their community to be the program that parents choose for their children. Opportunities are great and continue to grow as more federal and state money is designated to building quality and supporting the education of early childhood education professionals. What that means for you as business owner is that now more than ever, it is critical to look into these resources and use them to support quality and build your programs.
Slide 5, Child Care Center as a business.
Almost all businesses in Minnesota must register with the Office of the Minnesota Secretary of State. More information about the process and instructions on how to start and register your small business can be found by visiting the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development's Small Business Online Hub and Minnesota's Secretary of State website. In addition to registering the business owners must plan for securing initial funding to start up the business, purchasing the necessary insurance, and preparing to file state and federal taxes.
Slide 6, Determining business structure.
Before applying for a license to operate a child care business, it is important to understand that applicants will be asked to identify the structure of their business. On the application, there is a choice to indicate whether the applicant is an individual, organization, or government entity. The most common choices are organization or government entity. Typically, individuals starting a child care center establish a business, such as a limited liability company or a corporation, and apply as an organization.
Slide 7, Ownership verification.
Ownership refers to the owners of a business, as well as the persons who provide governance and leadership in an organization or government entity. When applying for a child care center license, an applicant is required to provide ownership information. Whether the applicant is an individual, organization, or government entity and how the business is set up will determine who is identified as a controlling individual. A document titled "Who or What Are Your Controlling Individuals?" can be found by searching our forms for form number DHS 8000A. This form is intended to assist applicants with designating their controlling individuals.
Slide 8, Controlling individual and authorized agent.
A controlling individual is defined as an owner of a program, the chief executive officer, the chief financial officer, and each managerial official whose responsibilities include the direction of the management or policies of the child care program. In addition to providing information on the controlling individual or individuals, the applicant must identify an authorized agent, or AA. The first controlling individual identified on application will be considered the authorized agent on the license. An authorized agent is defined as the controlling individual responsible for communicating with the licensing department, and with whom the licensing department will send all notices and orders to. Any one of the controlling individuals can be designated as the authorized agent. Licensing requests clear documentation of ownership delegation and the structure of a business, organization, or government entity. This could include articles of incorporation, tax information, and an organizational chart. All controlling individuals must pass a Department of Human Services. When an applicant applies for a child care center license, background study as a part of the license application process.
Slide 9, Tax Identification Information.
When applying for a child care center license, an applicant will be required to provide tax identification information. For an applicant that is an organization or government entity, the application requires you to document the Federal Employer Identification Number and Minnesota Tax Identification Number for the business. Additionally, applicant and license need to provide taxpayer identification numbers if they chose to receive public funding reimbursement for services. A Federal Employer Identification Number, FIN or EIN, is a 9-digit identification number that is needed in order to pay federal taxes, hire employees, open a business bank account, and apply for business licenses and permits. There is an IRS assistance tool that can help with additional questions found on irs.gov. The State Tax Identification Number is a 7-digit number used to identify a business and pay Minnesota business taxes. This is needed to withhold income taxes from employees' wages and make business tax payments. Apply for a Minnesota Tax Identification Number with the Minnesota Department of Revenue Business Tax Registration website. If an individual is applying for a license, the Social Security number is required.
Slide 10, Organizational Chart.
Another thing to consider as you are setting up your business that will eventually be required to be licensed is that licensing requires an organizational chart referred to, at times, as the org chart be submitted with the Child Care Center license application. The organizational chart provides information about the structure of the business. An organizational chart is a visual chart that represents the structure of a company. It highlights how teams and departments are organized, the reporting relationships across the organization, and every individual's role and responsibilities. The chart must list all of the controlling individuals, officers, owners with their respective titles, and the individual designated as the authorized agent. The organizational chart is not required to be submitted on an official form and can simply be drawn as long as it is legible and clearly identifies the required components specified in Minnesota statutes, Section 245A.04 Subdivision 1.
Slide 11, Business Support Agencies and Organizations.
Having a license is necessary to operate your child care center business in Minnesota. Understanding what you will need to apply for a license is important as you are planning for your child care center business. Within Minnesota, there are many agencies and organizations set up to assist and support child care businesses. The Department of Employment and Economic Development offers business information and support. The Department of Labor and Industry provides information on employees' laws, workers' compensation insurance questions, and understanding OSHA standards. The Department of Revenue can assist with tax questions for businesses and employees. The Department of Education offers information on curriculum standards, early educator support, and food program participation. The Department of Health and local public health agencies support child care centers. with reducing the spread of illness and provide guidance on communicable diseases and illnesses. Additionally, Choose Safe Places Minnesota is an initiative of the Department of Health to identify and address potential environmental concerns at or around child care locations to protect children and providers from harmful substances. State fire marshal and local fire inspectors inform business owners on building code and zoning requirements for child care centers. The U.S. Small Business Administration offers various trainings, information, and resources for small businesses. First Children's Finance is a nonprofit community development financial institution that seeks to increase the availability, affordability, and quality of early care and education by providing financial and business development assistance to child care centers.
Slide 12, Child Care Aware Wayfinder.
Child Care Aware is a statewide network of district agencies that support the professional growth of child care in Minnesota. Child Care Aware provides coaching, information, technical assistance, grants, training, and professional development advice. Child Care Wayfinder navigators are available statewide to assist applicants and license holders find resources such as the ones mentioned on the previous slide. Wayfinder navigators offer assistance and information about the licensing application process. Navigators assess initial business and child care center needs, make referrals to partners, and help bring together and put to use all the support received. After the child care center is open, navigators can help sustain the business. Wayfinder navigators can connect child care center license holders to resources to help increase enrollment, strengthen relationships with children and families, improve staff retention, and address educator burnout. In the future, if wanting to expand the child care business, navigators connect license holders to resources for opening more locations, increasing licensed capacity, and changing the license type. To get more information and find a local navigator, visit childcarewayfinder.org or call 888-986-8207.
Slide 13, thank you.
The content in this e-learning is current as of the date presented. The Licensing Division reserves the right to update or revise as applicable. Thank you for watching.